So my flop. So my popcorn of the week was that I lost a kilo. I know it's not a big number, but it's just that I've been trying for the past 6 months to lose weight, like cut down on sugar, no junk food, no processed food, no luck. But then I felt sick, got diarrhea, and I lost 1 kilo. And the my flop corn of the week is that it's still going on, it hasn't stopped actually, is that my sleep cycle is a complete mess. I'm sleep deprived, and it's all thanks to the World Cup and because of the match timings. So, yeah. What are your flop corn and popcorn
So
of the
my
week?
flopcon was that I have not been able to work out for the last week or so. It's been a while. My work keeps me too exhausted by the end of the day that I'm not able to go to the gym. But my popcorn of the week was that I bought a new bottle, and this is going to be my whole personality now. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
Welcome to the second episode of Do Chai No Sugar. Today we are going to be talking about how our degrees are collecting dust inside our cupboards and how some hobbies should never be turned into a side hustle. So stick around. So to start with, I have a postgraduate degree in English and a specialization in journalism, but uh, most of my days currently goes into understanding IT terms, vocabularies, and processes. What about you, Chandana?
So I have a postgraduate degree in livelihoods and social entrepreneurship. It was an interdisciplinary course in liberal arts. But right now I'm spending my time in teaching and coaching students for their 12th boards and also CUET. That's my life currently.
It is still a day job that I understand. In the many career changes that you have done, there have been instances where I had absolutely no idea of what your job was. I just knew the name of the company that you worked with. So could you delve today finally into what the job was and what did you have to do exactly?
So I was working with a consulting firm. It was one of the big four firms that we know of. And consulting firms are basically known to, if I may say so, faff a lot of things, mostly. So it's a very gray area what consulting firms do. It started from financial auditing, but these companies now have uh, entered domains where smaller organizations have been dominating the fields. So something as simple as, development sector as we know it, where mostly the NGOs, very small organizations at the grassroots level work. So these big companies have entered these domains, and today they charge, 100 times more than what the actual work is worth. So I
Mhm.
was basically into development consulting. I used to work with farmers, I used to work with field level coordinators, basically at a very large scale, managing about 10,000 to 15,000 farmers in different districts and collating their requirements, their data, and presenting it to state governments. And this I have done for actually multiple organizations in my different jobs, which were in a similar kind of uh, profile, right? In development consulting. Sometimes I was working with education, at other times I was working with farmers, agriculture, and other times with textile workers. But it was mostly for the governments, but you know, in employed by organizations that were charging hefty amounts from the governments to do very little work and calling themselves efficient, effective, that probably many NGOs cannot credit themselves with. So it was basically, very simply speaking, window dressing of very uh, objective tasks that even ground level organizations are able to do. From an insider perspective, that is the best description I can give right now. And this is also to say that this has been my personal experience and with a very specific team, and this may not be true for everyone. I mean, very specific kind of people that I've dealt with. So I'm sure people have their own perspectives about consulting, and there is already a lot of content on social media that people consume about the consulting world. And let me tell you that all of that is true. Everything. Actually, I also have a lot of memes that, we can discuss. We can maybe see at the
I
end.
mean, one of the reasons that this whole episode came about was because I sent you a reel and it was about consultants and their look maxing. And
Yeah.
I was, for the first time, I was like, ah, okay, is that what it is? So, do you really think it's like look maxing, or like, why is there so much like attention to the presentation? Is that what the job requires, or is that like a cover for, like,
It's
like that?
definitely a cover. It's like, how we can also credit our uh, leaders who do the same thing. You maybe you do this much, but you market it in a way that the public assumes you have conquered the moon. So
Mm.
if I am to say that, okay, I am going to try to increase a farmer's income from rupees 1,000 to 5,000, so that is five times. But I will present it in a way that the government will think, okay, this is it. We do not need anything after this. Once this company does what it wants to, you will probably never need anything else. So that is why the government also feels motivated to invest so much money in this sector. There are
Mhm.
consulting firms doing almost every major activities. All these things are being outsourced to consulting firms today. I mean, I think we
Mhm.
should not delve deeper into this.
Yeah, yeah. But like, to a layman like me, what did your day-to-day life look like when you were not on the field dealing with like farmers or other people whose livelihood you helped, or um, like some other sector people whom you were trying to help? What was it like within an office space?
It was just writing a lot of reports all the time, writing a lot of proposals, basically to uh, participate in tenders, government tenders, writing proposals, making reports, writing a lot of reports actually. Our work hours were crazy, which also social media tells us about. And
So what
yeah,
was it exactly that, that pushed you to leave it behind? Was there like a particular
I think
moment?
this I think the motivation to join and to leave is kind of the same, that they pay you very well because, the whole system relies on so much money that they charge a lot of money from their clients. That is why they're able to pay their employees also a lot of money. So I don't think in any other sector there is as much money as there is in consulting right now. All kinds of consulting, whether it is management, technical, financial, they are able to maintain that because they charge so much from their clients.
Mhm.
And again, with that comes a lot of work. Like a normal work day can stretch from anything between 10 to 14 hours or even more. I think that's very normal working hours for any consulting employee. 12 hours is considered very normal. There are no guarantees of weekends. You can get calls any time of the day and you are expected to respond. I think by the second episode, people might have guessed our personalities, and we are definitely not. I mean, in the beginning, because there's so much money, you feel motivated that, okay, I may be able to do this. But as in how you get promoted, there is just more and more responsibilities that fall on your plate. And then It's not about whether you can rise up to the occasion or not. I think after one point, you start making those choices. And when you decide that, okay, this is it, this is, then you figure out what to do. Because um, you like it or not, in the due process, you also tend to adapt a lot of skills. You
Mm.
learn a lot of things on the job apart from how to deal with stress and other things. You also learn, how to handle so much data at the same time. You uh, get very well versed with business communication and things like that. So those skills eventually pay off, I think.
So, like looking back, do you remember the day when you decided to quit and what it felt like, the feeling that you got after
Like
maybe
for
putting in your
most
paper?
things, yes, I have an answer. So, like for most things, actually, it was a slow build up. It was accumulation of a lot of things. Okay, this feels like an exit interview at this point. But it is how when you are even on vacations, you have to carry your laptop and go. You
Mm.
never know when you might get a call from your boss and they'd be like, "Acha, please ye kar do." I was sitting at the wedding of my childhood friend, and she was getting ready, and all of us girls were in her room and we were chatting and this, that. And I had to literally like send data to one of my colleagues from some report that, okay, so and so is required, and this is the data we need, and this is how we're supposed to pitch and everything. Right. I remember I was on a vacation in Goa, and uh, yeah, I had to still take out my laptop and send a couple of things, attend a meeting, attend a video call meeting, and those things. So you realize that, okay, theek hai, matlab, you are getting paid, but I also need
Mentally, you
time.
cannot be divorced from your job.
Yeah,
Like
you
your
also
surroundings are
have
like,
time into able to spend that money on yourself and have that time for yourself. It was that position also comes with a lot of prestige when you
mm,
announce that you're working for so and so company, and almost everybody recognizes it. People hold certain prestige with that organization. There is a brand value, and you're suddenly deprived of that. So yeah, I think it's a choice you make at the end of the day. I think by the time I left, I also was questioning a lot that, okay, why, how are so many people actually able to do it? Then I
mm,
realized, when I was in that zone where I was contemplating leaving and I was talking to a lot of people within the organization, I realized that almost everybody was on the same boat. But because of uh, that habit of,
safety net.
yes, the habit of or the convenience of getting a certain amount at the end of the month, that you're going to be a millionaire at the end of the month is, yeah.
Now that chapter of your life is over, what do you actually do with yourself when there is no job title attached to who you are?
It's actually difficult. It takes a little while to adjust with it, but I think because I was so burnt out by the time I had left. So it
Mhm.
was a team meeting where the kind of conversations we had with our entire team and my supervisor, which is when I sort of inclined towards quitting. And I took the whole day to think over it. And eventually, at the end of the day, I put my papers. So it was a whole day of thinking and rethinking about the decision, whether it's going to be a right one or not. But I decided to take the call because anyway, I had to spend, our notice period is 3 months. You cannot, even after you quit, you cannot leave immediately because there are just so many rules, regulations, sanctions. So one has to be very mindful of those clauses. So it was a long time to adjust to find another opportunity and things like that. But because I was so burnt out at the end of it, and also my team made sure that they took out just everything from inside of me um, before I left. So I was even more burnt out. it took me a very long time to come out of it. I started to work out. I was already very unhealthy. My body had given up. My sleep cycle was completely all over the place. I couldn't sleep without any, sort of um, stimulation. I mean, some sort of background music or some very excessive trying or excessive physical activity. So I had to take care of all those things. I had to sort out my lifestyle. So I started working out. I started taking care of my health, and that kept me sane for some time. And I also like reading, but that is a hobby that, our generation has kind of forgotten given our rapidly decreasing attention span. So even though I enjoy reading, I have not been able to do that consistently or for longer periods. And I do not have any other hobbies, or I also, hobbies are something that you cannot learn, after a certain age, or maybe you can, I don't know. And I've also actually always drawn inspiration from you. Yeah, seeing about so many hobbies that you have and you regularly post about. So, hobbies are something that I would have liked to have during this period when I did not have a lot on my plate, and so I used to just go and work out, try to keep myself busy with the gym and fitness and running and this that. But yeah, please tell me how you juggle between your work and the many hobbies that you have.
Um, I mean, hobbies is a way of escape. So, like you said, you would run, you would go to the gym, and anything that gives you a break from that usual headspace, I would consider it a hobby. So I think one of the many reasons, or like, I mean, nobody pursues a hobby intentionally. It's just something that you like and you don't stop indulging in it. So I probably think that my parents are like the ones who still pursue their hobby. Like now they are like senior citizens, 60 plus, and my mother is into embroidery and knitting, and she does handloom, and it even before the whole content world made these kind of like handwork more fancy or attractive. She had been doing it, and even till this day, she does it. She will always have a embroidery project with her anytime I go home. So, and one thing is that she never monetized it. She just kept it to herself. I would ask that, why don't you take orders? And it's not something new. Like even back in the day, we knew neighbors who would take orders and stuff. And she's like, no, I don't want it to pressurize me. I don't want to work within a framework or a timeline. I don't want to like do a particular design that someone else wants it. I just want to do what I want. And similarly with my father, his hobby is playing chess. And like I remember one of the first video games that we got had the game of chess in it. So that was the extent to which he's so passionate. And till this day, in fact, today I got a call from him saying that he's going to start this chess academy in our community club, and he wants me to find beginners chess games so that he can. It's supposed to be for kids, so he wants like introductory chess books that he can use as study material to teach those kids. So he was like, I have always played until now, but I have never learned how to teach somebody. So I want to do that. So it's like him passing whatever he knows about his passion to the next generation. So that kind of thing. So I mean, I think hobby I've realized is like your love for a lifetime. That is how I would describe it. So, but then the good thing about it is you pick, and you don't have to be so devoted that you can't leave from it anytime. Like the moment you don't like it, you can just drop it. Like I remember during the pandemic, I took up crochet, and I crocheted one scarf and gave it to a friend. And I didn't like it. I mean, I was very involved or very focused on completing that project, but I never took it up again. So it's like you pick and draw, but then there is my hobby of learning Korean, which somehow has translated or transformed into a job, which is like the whole aspect of monetizing a hobby, which is always there. And right now in this age of content, like you're always having to wrestle about whether to keep it precious to yourself, guard it from the capitalism of the world, or you use it as a way to like make money out of it. So
Yeah.
like lots of points to
Yeah, I think it
discuss.
ceases to be remain something you like if you kind of monetize it or if you share it with the world, so as to say. I think
Yeah.
um for a lot of us, especially women or even men who live alone, I think cooking tends to become a hobby.
Mm,
It tends to be
yeah.
stress buster, but as soon as it becomes a compulsion that okay, you have to cook, necessarily cook twice or thrice a day in order to feed
Yeah.
yourself and feed the people
Yeah.
around you, I think it ceases to remain enjoyable or like a stress buster. Instead, it starts giving you stress by
Yeah. Yeah.
planning meals, cooking, cleaning, and all of that tends to become a chore and you stop enjoying the process.
Yeah, I mean, hobby at the end of the day is closely associated with a sense of freedom. The moment that agency is taken away from you in whatever circumstances, I think it ceases to be enjoyable and stops being hobby. So, like, I guess that same works with like content creation. Like, you start creating content related to food, and then I don't know, at certain point when you have to like churn out episodes on a daily basis, it would like it would become like a chore or a job. But then like I guess we are no one to take that holier than die attitude, because we have also like if we have also like made a content out of like just by talking about things. But I guess the only difference here would be the element of like not converting hobby with a revenue model, because
I think it's
right now
ironical that we are doing exactly that. I think our hobby
no.
is to maybe talk to each other, share about our day, give each other weekly updates about our lives. And this is, in a way, making content, let us say, equates to monetizing it.
Not
Not
necessarily. I mean,
necessarily.
right now, like the podcast is not a hustle for us, and also it's like it's something we are doing because we want to do. It's not really with a very clear intention of getting return on our investments.
And I
So
think
I guess that is a very important point of differentiation. So
till it becomes a compulsion for us to churn out episodes after episode, I think we are good.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess when people approach hobbies, that kind of balance or that thought process of ensuring that it is, at least in today's day and age, cut off from revenue and monetization, I guess you still have that space to enjoy it and indulge in it. And you can quit anytime that it stops being enjoyable. Like right now, I
Fair.
must have also like constantly been messaging you about my obsession with learning about the opium trade and
Yeah.
how it has been like this subaltern history that I'm unearthing, and so much to learn. And that is also a kind of pursuit that has absolutely no source of like, monetizing whatsoever. But I'm still like distributing my gyan to others
Yeah.
because this, you get a sense of euphoria, the high of just doing that, like just indulging in it. Like my language learning thing was like so difficult. Every time before an exam, I would be like, why am I
Yeah, but you
doing it?
learned an entire language,
Exactly.
study
It's
sports,
exactly the
you do handwork, you play yourself.
exactly like chess. Like, why would somebody want to take it up as a hobby when it is so challenging? But yeah, you get the joy and the thrill, the dopamine rush, I guess, in some way. So that is
That's
the
kind of
good part
your
of it.
mental, intellectual stimulation.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, on that note, please tell us what is that one thing, one hobby that you would never want to pursue professionally? So, this is Chandana,
Hi, Monami.
and see you in the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in.